Welcome to the winner's presentation of Model Mania 2021, and I'm your host, Michael Steves. This was the biggest Model Mania ever, with 3 challenges, over 700 participants, leading to 17 winners. Let's get right into it with the Solidworks challenge with Mark Schneider.
Thanks, Michael. For those of you who are not familiar with the Model Mania Solidworks Challenge, the Model Mania Solidworks Challenge is something we've been doing at World for 21 years. This is our 22nd year doing this. If you look at the screen, these are some of the past models that we do. So if you're not familiar with it, what we do at World is you sit in a private booth with a computer and a seat of SolidWorks. We give you a drawing and ask you to model a part. Then we give you another drawing and ask you to make a change to that part and run a quick simulation. So that's kind of the whole thing. We pull all the parts off the machines at the end of the day, and we grade them. Whoever gets them done, we judge them on accuracy first, then on time. So it is really a good speed run of how fast you can model your parts and now how fast you can go. So obviously we couldn't do that this year in a virtual setting. So we tried to evolve and really expand the way that we run the contest this year. So we did it where everyone got to see the drawing at the same time. So this is the Model Mania 2021 drawing. This is the drawing that we got on Tuesday at 2:30 in the afternoon. Everybody logged into the virtual tester, and at the same time, they all got to see the same drawing at the same time. And then the timer started, and you had to model your part and submit it. This year, we didn't ask you to make that change or that phase 2. It was one phase, model the part and run a simulation. So what we're going to do is we're going to, before we announce our winners and who were the fastest, we're going to run through a quick little run through how you could actually model this piece up here. Before I do that, I want to kind of just walk through this a little bit here and just show you, okay, where am I going to start? If I'm looking at this part, I see that cylindrical boss down the center, probably something I'm going to start with. I'll take a look at that. And then I see this base plate at the bottom there, and that has some hole locations, 80 millimeters in each direction, and it's got that big 75 millimeter radius at the top and a couple of holes. And that looks like I either pattern that linear pattern or maybe I'll do a circular pattern for that. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to shell that out. If I look at this, that whole bottom pocket there, that whole bottom piece is basically a shell, but I don't want to show all the other stuff at the top. Then we're going to put this clamping boss on the side. So you can see the dimensions that are located for that there. We'll go ahead and add that. Then I'm going to add the fillets. I'm going to add the fillets before I put the saw cut and the holes in, and we'll see why I do that. It makes it a little bit easier for picking the edges or the faces that I need to fill it. The last thing I'm going to do, or not the last thing, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 3 millimeter saw cut that kind of opens up my part so I can do the clamping. Next, we got some holes. So I have a 8 millimeter a counterbore for a M8 socket head cap screw, and on the far side I have that tapped hole for that same thing. And then we're going to apply our material, and the last thing we're going to do is we're going to run our simulation. So let's get started. Let's actually walk through do a little run through of how we would actually go through this here. I'm going to start on the top plane. Again, that big cylindrical boss that I had there, that's a 50 millimeter diameter on the inside, 60 on the outside. And I'm just going to put everything in a single sketch. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to locate those holes that I had out there. The diameter is 14 millimeters and 12 times 2 or 24 for the radius of that. And the reason I'm adding that here is I want to put everything in this one sketch because it's going to help me. I think it's going to help me later on. So 40 and 40, I want to pattern that around. I'm going to use the sketch pattern here to do that. But before I do that, what I want to do is I want to add this arc here. That's a 75 millimeter arc that I'm going to add. Actually, we don't even add the dimension, but I want to make sure that's tangent because I'm going to pattern that around. Now, one of the things that helps me with my pattern here is I have that center line that goes to the vertex, the center, the origin of the part, and that helps lock everything down. You can do the same thing without that line in there and you'd see what happens. We'll attach that arc to the circle on the side and we'll add a tangent relationship and a dimension of 75 and we'll extrude it. I'm not even going to trim anything up here, just going to use the contours, grab these contours here. We're going to drag that out. That's going to be 20 millimeters in depth. And there we go. On the bottom, I'm going to shell that out. So while it's still early here, I'm going to go ahead and shell this 5 millimeters of wall thickness there. Go ahead and shell that out. Next, we're going to take that same sketch that we started with, and I'm just going to drag that inner cylindrical boss, if you will, those two circles, and just drag that up. That's 60 millimeters. Now we'll put on the clamping boss, that angled thing that goes on the side, transition immediately into an arc, just transition away at tangency there, and just draw out my shape. This is going to be 12 millimeters is the dimension for that. And then I'm going to add a dimension of 30. And then in order to get symmetry in this part, I'm going to create a center line between the center of that arc and the midpoint of that line and make that line horizontal. That establishes my symmetry for me. We'll add some dimensions here. It's going to be 36 millimeters from the central axis, and then from the bottom, it's going to be 42 millimeters to locate that. I still have one blue line under constrained line. I want to go ahead and constrain that, so I'm going to do that by turning on or turning off my shaded and turn on my wireframe, and just go ahead and lock that onto that inside bore. Now I won't have any extra material on the inside. Here I'm just going to use Instant 3D and drag that out. And a tip I learned from Buzz on Monday is that I can just use the M key to hold that down, and it builds a midpoint relation, or makes that a midpoint relationship there. When I see these extra little faces like that, first thing I think of is delete face. I got this extra little geometry, delete those two faces, use the selection helper to get the all planar faces, and it chooses both sides for me. And there we go. Now I'm going to add my fillets. All I had to do is choose that one face, and it wraps that fillet all the way around that part for me. We'll choose the bottom face, one of those vertical edges, and then use the selection helper to get all the other 7 that are very similar to it. It saves me some steps there. Now, this isn't necessary, but it helps me for visualization, is to give color to that fillet, that feature there. And you can see then I can see all my fillets kind of wrap around my model as I'd expected. I'm not missing any edges. And actually, when I grade these parts, I'm always looking, highlighting that face so I get that color so I can see, make sure that they're all there. Next, we'll add our saw cut. So this is just a line, a single line that I'm going to draw, and I'm going to make that I'm going to make it I'm going to do a cut, and it's going to be a cut with a thin feature about the mid plane of 3 millimeters wide. Now we're going to put our use our hole wizard and put those holes in there. This is going to be an 8 millimeter counterbore hole. So use a socket head cap screw, use all the capabilities of hole wizard to define that, so I don't have to model that in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my temporary axis. It's never a good idea to tie a hole or a feature to an edge of a fillet. So I'm going to locate that hole to the temporary axis, so that makes that a little bit more robust of a model. Next, we'll add the tapped hole. This is going to be an M8 tapped hole through all up to next. Either one works. Locate that on that temporary axis as well. And now we're good to go. So the last thing we need to do is check our model, make sure everything looks good. We need to make sure we apply our material, and that is going to be plain carbon steel. And there you have it. We've finished the model. Now, the next thing we ask you to do is run a simulation. So let's go ahead and do the simulation portion now. You could use SolidWorks Simulation or Simulation Express. I like to use SolidWorks Simulation. We're going to hold with fixed geometry type of restraint the 4 holes that kind of locate this thing, and those are called out on the drawing. Those are going to be held as fixed. And then we're going to apply a force to the inside bore of this thing, and it's going to be defined in a certain direction. And I'm just going to choose that edge to define the direction. We'll reverse that. 10,000 newtons is the load that we apply. And our model is set up. The last thing we need to do is hit run. And there it goes. It's going to go off and run. I always like to, we'll turn off our symbols here. I always like to animate my simulation to make sure it behaves as I'd expect. And sure enough, it does. So let's solve for our factor of safety, and it's around 3.3. This number varied depending on your mesh settings. That's something when we're doing this live at World, I have control over the mesh settings, and I have control of setting that up. Everybody's machine's different in the real world, so the factor of safety did vary a little bit, anywhere from 3 to 3.5. All those are right. But what I do is I always go in and check to make sure your loads and boundary conditions are defined correctly. And that's really what I'm looking for there. So there you have it, Model Mania 2021. That's the solution. What we do is when the people compete, we let the resellers compete against each other, and our SolidWorks users compete against each other. So they're not competing against each other. In the early days, the resellers were much faster. These days, it's not so much true anymore. Our users are really good. But anyway, you compete for prizes. We give prizes for our resellers and for our users. First, second, and third, $500, $400, and $250 gift card. And without further ado, let's introduce our champions here. So our third place user champion is Rohit Mitra from Solidworks. Our second place user champion is Clark Schaefer from Fives Lund. And our first place user champion is Timothy Zalewski from PAR Systems with a time of 10 minutes and 42 seconds. Great job. And that time was the fastest of the entire contest. By the way, we had over 440 people compete this year, so world record for number of participants. Let's talk about our reseller champion. Our third place reseller champion, Russell Richardson of Solid Solutions Management. Second place champion. Oh, I went too fast with my mouse. Okay. Philip Olio from Cadmes. Congratulations, Philip. And obviously our first place champion is Anthony Sandry from CATI with a time of 12 minutes and 46 seconds. Big round of applause. Big congratulations to all of our SolidWorks Challenge champions. Great job. And for everyone who participated, great job.
Again,
what I'm going to turn it over to Michael Steves, and Michael Steves is going to run us through one of the other Model Mania challenges that we had, which is the 3D Experience Challenge. Michael?
Again, big congratulations to our SolidWorks winners of Model Mania 2021. What's next? We're going to talk about the 3D Experience Challenge at 3D Experience World 2021. Now, if you stop by the partner playground, you're able to see all three challenges. Here's the 3D Experience Challenge. We asked people to open up a frame and an engine for a motorcycle and model up any components that they wanted. We actually received a lot of awesome motorcycles. How did they post them? They posted them to the 3D Experience World 3D Swim community. And this year, this is the second year we did it. This year, everyone posted their models as a 3D model. So you can go in, open it up, zoom in, zoom out, rotate to really understand how some of these models were made and put together. So some really good entries. Let's take a look at just some of these that were submitted. You know, as you can see, some people did just the wheel. Some people did kind of entire themed motorcycles to design this new chopper for 3D Experience. Because I'm sure a lot of you remember, we have a SolidWorks chopper. Now we can use these ideas as inspiration for the new 3D Experience chopper. So thank you for everyone that participated. Once these models were posted to the 3D Swim community, they were available to be viewed by the 3D Swim community of 3D Experience World. And this is how we leverage the community to go in and like these posts, like these 3D models, because how these winners were determined were by the most number of likes. Most likes wins this year. So similar to the SolidWorks Challenge, we have the same top three prizes, and we did break it up between our users and our resellers. So let's see how we did. So for our user champions, third place, we have Timothy Zalewski from PAR Systems. In second place, Cole Witt Designs. And in first place, Amy Hamilton, Polk County School Board. Let me brush off some of this confetti before we announce our reseller champions. Okay. Are we ready? Let's do it. Third place, Jose Manuel Ibarra, DMD. In second place, Randy Simmons, CATI. And in first place, Matthew Kukoski with TriMech. So congratulations to our 3D Experience Challenge champions. Great way to get on the platform, accessing this from anywhere in the world to participate. Congratulations again. Next, we're going to continue with the 3D Experience Student Challenge. So let me introduce Charles to take us through that challenge and our winners.
Thank you, Michael. Very impressive. Thank you, Mark. Hi, everyone. I'm very pleased and proud to share with you the result of the Model Mania 3D Experience Student Challenge. We had a total of 350 participants, and we get around 30 projects on our student community. The challenge was the following. Students had to study the 2D drawing of the part you see on the left. They had everything they needed, the exact measures, the two phases of the design, the initial design and its evolution. The goal was to use 3D Designer to design the part in one shot. And they had to be accurate and they had to be fast. And they were accurate and they were fast. You will see just after that. How did we do that with the current situation? Well, they recorded their design on their computer. They posted it on our student community. And by the way, if you want to go on the student community, just visit edu.3ds.com and you will get the chance to see all the projects that have been posted on the community. And because all the projects are very great, but we have to make a choice. And I'm proud to announce the 5 winners that we've analyzed with our Dassault system experts. At the 5th position, Ahmad Khan from Adjumand Islam Kalsekar Technical Campus. At the 4th position, Ju Jasinkani from IIT Kharagpur, who did that in 4 minutes and 19 seconds. Congratulations to him. At the 3rd position, Raj Kumar Savdarpishka from Sapienza Università di Roma, who did that in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. 2nd position, Nouman Asiane from Lebanese American University in 3 minutes 46 seconds. And the winner of the 2021 edition is Ahmad Alalak from University of Hail, who did that in 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Congratulations to all the participants. We are very proud of you and we are looking forward to meet you in the 2022nd edition.
Awesome. Thank you, Charles, for handling the 3D Experience Student Challenge this year. I mean, when I took a look at that community, it was awesome to see, all these different students speed running through these models, modeling them as fast as they can. Because I know myself, as I've gone through, the previous years of Model Mania, and by the way, I just have to mention, if anyone's looking at participating in these challenges in the future, especially the Solidworks Challenge, all of those models from previous years are available online. Just head over to my.solidworks.com, search for Model Mania. You'll find the post that has all these models available, all the solutions. and you can practice and either try and go through them blind or, learn how to do it as fast as possible using some features you may not have used before and come up with the fastest solution possible. So a great way to reuse some of that content from the SolidWorks challenge over the years and really improve your CAD skills, improve your interpretations of drawings, and become a true champion in the CAD community. So at this point, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. We have a couple questions, so we'll have a little bit of a Q&A at this point. So we'll have Charles and Mark go ahead and come on back up as we address some of these questions from our attendees today. So Mark, I think this one might be good for you to help me with. Top question that's been voted here is there any goodies or certificate for the participants of Model Mania 2021? And before you answer, I have my own answer I want to give to this, because I would invite everyone to head on over to the 3D Experience World 3D Swim community. And you can do that by going to solidworks.com/3DXWorld. That will take you right there. Earlier today, I posted the 3D model start part that we used for the Model Mania 3D Experience Challenge. So anybody is able to download that, use it, open it up in SolidWorks, open it up in the 3D Creator, 3D Sculptor roles that you may have access to, and model away. And I invite you to share that model back. So that's one virtual token that we'll give you. Mark, how about for the Model Mania Challenge?
So no, we don't have any certificates or vouchers or anything, but I will say that's a good idea for the future. I just want to make sure that I'm not muted. You can hear me,
I can hear you. Yep.
So I just want to make sure that, I think that's something we can consider in the future. Obviously, when we're at World and we do this live, we're in the playground, everybody's coming through and getting stamps. Maybe it's a good idea to add Model Mania to that stamp collecting, if you will. So I'll take that as good feedback. The other thing, Michael, I'm not sure if you ran through it. I was trying to answer some questions typing when you first came back after Charles was up. Did you point people to the where the previous versions of Model Mania are on My SolidWorks?
Yep. So just again, head on over to my.solidworks.com, search for Model Mania, and you'll be able to find the post that has all of the previous year's models, right?
Yeah, on the left-hand side, it'll say blogs. If you tick that blogs, it'll be the first one. It'll say 21 years of Model Mania. You'll have all the old models, all the old drawings, I should say, and a solution video for each one. And next week, we'll get the solution video and the drawing for this one, and we'll get that one posted onto that same webpage so that, people can play around with it at home as well. So that's good. A lot of questions. Where can we get this? How can we practice these? And that's where to go. My.solidworks.com.
And to answer your question, Michael, for the students, you just have to go on the student committee and ask for a voucher and a certificate, and we'll be pleased to offer that to all the participating students. We are also offering. The 3D Experience EDU department is also offering the 3D design license for 6 months after the event, so the students can continue to play with the tool, and we will offer goodies to all the let's say the project that we received on the community, because we have 5 winners, but they all win by using the software and showing us the great work that they've done.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you for that, Mark and Charles. Especially with, I've had the opportunity to compete in the Model Mania Challenge or the Model Mania SolidWorks Challenge before, and I think I got 3rd place a couple times even. And I know how fun it is to participate, because you do learn a lot just by watching the solution video and different tools and techniques to use the next time you're using SolidWorks. And as a winner, you had the opportunity sometimes to get the 3D model. Mark, you would have 3D models printed out for us to hold in our hands to better understand and interpret that 2D drawing that's in front of us. And that's something that we just couldn't do this year with the virtual environment. So obviously we're not going to wait for a 3D print to, print on our 3D printer maybe while we are trying to interpret the drawing. But that's one thing that we did. Some of the winners got as a little trinket, a little token of participating in previous years. So the model's available, the solution's available. Maybe you can print one up and at home and 3D print your own and have that for your keepsake. All right, and I got to go back to this.
Michael, there was a question. Why don't you show the first place model? The first place model looks exactly like the one that's on the drawing. So we could show each of the models, but if the models are correct and they're accurate, they're going to look exactly like they do on the drawing. There was a question about what were the other times besides the winning times. The third place user time was just under 13 minutes. So if you're trying to judge how well you did, second place, I'd have to go dig all those out. Usually we just list that first place because that's the bar that everybody wants to try to beat, if you will.
Yeah, and we only had one phase this year for the Solidworks Challenge. In previous years, it's been 2 phases. The time limit in previous years has been 20 minutes. What was the time limit this year?
30 minutes. And we wanted to, we knew more people were going to participate. We wanted to open it up. We wanted people to actually submit. And when we do this live and people are in the booth, we're trying to get as many people in and out of those booths as we can, as quickly as we can. So there's a time limit at 20 minutes. You're basically timed out, no more modeling. We save the part and you move on and go do something else. And this year we kind of just wanted to expand it and let people take their time and submit something. So that was kind of one of the things we wanted to change. And whether we do this virtually in the future or not, we can try that. The challenge with doing it this way and virtually is that everybody sees the drawing at the same time. And one of the questions that came up is, can we do this in different time zones so that people aren't up in the middle of the night? That's a great idea. The challenge that we had this year was that if that drawing pops up and somebody takes a screen capture and they send it to their colleague that's in another time zone that doesn't start for 12 hours, that other person can then practice and practice and practice and get it down and get it really fast. So that's kind of the goal with this contest, is that it's something it's a drawing you've never seen before, and now you got to sit there and you got to model it. So that's why we chose this year to make the drawing available to everyone at the same time. No extra time to read the drawing and study it before you get started. It's just when the drawing's shown, the timer starts.
Yeah, so I think I will say, anyone in the comments in the chat, put in, do you want to see 1 phase or 2 phases? Because I know when you model up that first phase and you're like, I don't know what tricks Mark Schneider has up his sleeves this year. What's the change going to be? And did I model my part flexible enough to adapt to the change? So I think that's already one thing when you get that phase 2 drawing and you're thinking, oh no, what did I do?
That's part of when we create these models, these Model Mania models. The part of the goal for us to create these parts is so that you build a robust model, so that it is able to withstand some change. And I always say, at least for the Solidworks Challenge, one of the things that I want people to walk away with, from the solution video, is I hope they walk away and said, I learned something. I can be a little bit more productive in what I do in my day-to-day design work. So it's kind of the goal.
All right, I see some other questions coming up there, maybe about clarifying some of the times that we're up, as well as some of the other sessions that are going on. And I guess this is another kind of advantage of this being a virtual event, is that not only is this session recorded, other sessions are recorded as well. So we understand, throughout the entire conference, there's multiple sessions going on. I wanted to attend multiple at one time. So be sure to check out the recordings of this, as well as the other sessions that you weren't able to attend. Let's see, Mark, anything else jumping out to you?
I was trying to type one in here. Somebody asked, can I use so here's a tip, I guess, for those, if we ever get to do this live again, and gosh, I hope it's next year, is that what we do is when you go into your booth, somebody asks, can I use my own 3D mouse? If you want to bring a bunch of hardware in there, plugging in extra hardware, I would say no. But if you want to bring in your hotkeys, you do copy options and you get all your options out and you can put those on a memory stick and bring that in and put those on. I always say, when you do that, don't tell me, oh, SolidWorks, didn't behave right or it didn't work right, because a lot of times you're pointing to folders that might be network drives and it can't find that information. So I always say, if you want to put your own hotkeys on, you can do that, but you're on your own. Don't tell me SolidWorks didn't behave right because you did that. So that's my take, is if you want to bring them, but otherwise we're just kind of in an out of box, setup. The good thing about this year is that you did have your own mouse, your own keyboard, your own monitor, your own setup. And when we do this at World, we give you a hard copy drawing that sits in front of you, single monitor, and you get to sit there. You have to sit there and model it. Here you could have multiple monitors if you want, tile your windows however you wanted to perform that, print it out if you wanted to do that too. All those things you could do, but at least for me, if I want to go fast, I got to have my own mouse.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I would like to add too is that I'm very happy for this first edition of the Student Challenge, because I really understand that I really think that the students understand the power of the 3DEXPERIENCE platform and also the power of the communities. And that's maybe why we don't have a lot of questions today, is because they already asked their question on the communities. And during the past month for this challenge, we answered to their questions, but also the participants between them answer to the other question of the other students. So I'm very proud and confident for next year that the power of the community will be more and more powerful.
Well, I agree, Charles. The student challenge this year was really fun in my eyes, because it made me think of, you see other speed running communities out there, like for video games, for instance. How fast can you finish a video game? And this really kind of helped bring some of that, high level of competition to the CAD world, the design world. Here's the part, all the dimensions, all the features that you can make. How fast can you do it to get to that finished part as accurate as you can and as fast as you can? So I can imagine if someone posts a faster time than me, I'm going to go back right in and see how fast I can do it next time to hopefully get that first place spot.
Yeah, the limit we had of being virtual is that some of the students decided to speed up a little bit their video, and trying to make it faster. So we had to take care of the ranking, of the final ranking, and to avoid any mistake.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, we have to make sure everyone's playing fair and playing honest with all of these challenges. I mean, Mark, you mentioned it earlier with, releasing that drawing all at once. Of course, with the, 3DEXPERIENCE challenge that I ran, the way I set up the platform, I mean, when a user logged in, and the first time they opened up XDesign, it automatically created their own unique collaborative space, and that was private to them. So, they weren't able to, bring in other models or have any, collaborate. By design, we didn't want them to collaborate. It was to show off your design skills and show off that to the community. And that's where, that space was automatically created for them. It was unique to them, so that when they posted it, it's their creation that they're doing to the community. Yeah. Okay. Margaret, Charles, do you see any other questions or anything else we want to say before we start to wrap up?
I think we got through most of them. There's some here and there. If somebody wants to know full ranking of everybody, we have never really done any kind of listing like that, because then, if you have one thing wrong, do I take off for one thing wrong? Do I take off a minute? Do I take off 2 minutes? That's why I always say, when I create the part for Model Mania, the SolidWorks challenge anyway, I try to make it hard enough that at least 50% of the people do not get it right. Makes it easy for me to grade. And at least the other 50% actually get it right, so I can grade objectively on time only. So no, we don't have any kind of listing of how people all stack out, because it can vary depending on whether or not we get all. We never get all perfect parts. Let's just face the facts.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think let's go ahead and wrap this up. Charles, thank you for coming and bringing us the 3D Experience Student Challenge. Mark, thank you as always for keeping the Solidworks Challenge going strong. It's been a pleasure to host the 3D Experience Challenge this year, as well as the winners presentation. So again, big congratulations to all of our winners for the Solidworks Challenge, 3D Experience Challenge, and 3D Experience Student Challenge. Hopefully you got some of that digital confetti on your screen and soaked up a little bit of the limelight. Thank you again for participating. And we'll see you next year.
See you next year. Thank you.